Yo, what up? In the house. We in the house. We in the house on a Saturday. Mm. What a time to be alive. Bomb squad. Everything good. We froze up, actually froze up a couple times before we actually got on, but hopefully everything is good now. Man, been through the ringer. Been through the ringer. But we made it. We made it. This show was supposed to go down on Tuesday and didn't happen. Didn't happen. This one particular route has been getting cut, so we all getting dumped on as far as the work. They move it over to other routes, and so Tuesday show had to push it to Wednesday. Wednesday show had to push it to Thursday. And by the time Thursday got here, I said, you know what? It's not going to happen. We're going to have to do it on Saturday, where I know I'll be available, because I just knew on Thursday the way the week was going wasn't going to happen. So I moved it to today. And so I'm glad I did, because last night, y'all, I didn't get off till 9 o'clock, 9:15. That's the latest I've worked in over 2.5 years. I haven't worked that late in a long time. So, man, look, but we made it though. Busy week, heavy week, for me at least, and for some, some of my coworkers. But we made it. We made it. We still in one piece. we still we still kicking. We still kicking. So my apologies for having to move the show, because I really wanted to get to this one. Um, but yeah, my apologies, and I'm going to apologize on my behalf, even though it was mainly out of my control. I'm still responsible for showing up, and I have this thing where I don't want to start a show too late. I know we from all different time zones. I get it, but I'm on Central Time. I don't like starting the show past, say, like 9:15. So if it goes past that time, I'd rather push it. But sometimes we might have to do things a little different. But I do not like to postpone shows, because on the dates I have to postpone to. I have other plans for those dates, so I don't like doing it. So, but this week, hopefully, is an exception. And supposedly, they're supposed to be, well, starting next week, as far as the stops per car going down. But we'll see, because we don't know. Because I've seen that before, I've heard it before, and nothing really happened. So thank you guys for showing up, and thanks for being patient. Everybody who missed the show on the days that it was initially supposed to air, we're supposed to go live. If you don't make it to this one, my apologies as well. But we here. We here in one piece. All right. Y'all see the title. This is a part two. Part one, we really didn't get into it, but this part two, we want to talk about we have customers going to the media saying about, hey, we have packages that either got lost, damaged, or stolen, and we want to know what happened to them. And I'm going to break it down from my perspective, and I'll show you what the media angles are. We'll show you what the customer angles are, and I'll give you my angle to give you insight on what what really happens, for the most part. Bomb Squad, welcome to the show. I appreciate all the support from everybody. Absolutely. Marcus Smith, I see you in the room. What's up, big dog? How you living? Marcus Smith, always holding me down. I appreciate you, bro. Bomb Squad in full effect. Okay, you got 89 stops left. All right, Marcus. Okay, so what time is it? 3:30. So that 89, that's gonna finish about what, 8 o'clock maybe? 7:30 is all resis. I'm supposing it's all resis. Yeah, man. Marcus Smith. I know you can't text and drive, but thanks for the support, man. You always holding me down. I appreciate it. Bomb Squad, we up. All right. All right, y'all. Let's get started. Brick.media, y'all. Yeah. And we live.
Break.media.
We are live. Saturday.
Break.media.
All right, Bomb Squad. It's a pleasure to be before you guys. Thanks for being patient. We wanted to get to this. And before we get started with everything, I just want to say, when it comes to life, y'all, we always have stuff going on. No matter if we want to have stuff going on or we don't want to have stuff going on. Life is going to always throw you curveballs, and you got to duck and dodge the curveballs. You got to handle business. You got to take care of stuff. But like this week is a prime example of you plan one thing and you have to pivot and do something else, and it makes you upset most of the time. Sometimes people don't care. I get it, but we're always having curveballs thrown to us, and so we have to make adjustments. We always have to make adjustments. If we don't make adjustments, we'll remain stagnant. We'll be stagnant, and then other stuff will happen. So this week, like I said, is a prime example of having to make adjustments. We don't always like it. It suck, but we have to get to it, because worst thing we could do is just sit back and complain and don't do anything about it. But hey, shouts out to everybody who persevere with everything you do, whether it's work, home life balance, all that stuff, all that type of stuff. You always got to figure stuff out. And the moment we stop figuring stuff out, and the moment we stop thinking for ourselves, I think that's when we die. So y'all stay alive out there. And we did make another video. We're probably gonna drop a video. Probably drop it tonight, either tonight or tomorrow. But we have an update. All right. We have an update on the map feature. I know a lot of you out there, y'all wondering what happened to the maps. A lot of you guys are outraged. Ladies and gents, outraged about UPS taking away the maps. But we have an updated video, and we'll be dropping that video really soon. So look out for that on the channel, Brick.media. And if you need to send me an email, brick.everyday@gmail.com. If you need anything, you have questions, you have comments, all right, you want to book a call, y'all let me know. brick.everyday@gmail.com. And that's how we're moving, all right? So, this first video, guys, let's get into it. I think this out of California, all right? Let's see what we got going on here. All right, let's go.
It sounds like Christmas came late for the Diaz family.
It's a nice guitar. I like its tone a lot.
16-year-old Damian Diaz just recently received his gift. His dad Tony purchased this guitar months ago from seller Adam Holsey.
I shipped them all at the same time from the same place, printed the labels right here at home.
The guitar was one of 3 in the shipment, but only 2 arrived. This dime slime guitar seemed to be stuck in Lathrop, California. Calls to UPS customer service revealed all kinds of reasons it wasn't delivered.
Burned up in a California wildfire, fell off the truck, fell off a train. So many different stories. The package was damaged beyond repair. All contents were destroyed and discarded.
Halsey received some compensation for
Okay, so they didn't get the package at all. So it seems like they called customer service, say, "Hey, where's my package? What's going on with my package?" And it seems as if every time they call, they got like a different reason on what happened to the package or a different excuse on why he didn't have his package and what happened to it. Just want to make sure we get everything clear and we can move forward. All right, let's keep going.
from UPS, but not an amount he felt was fair. UPS says it was going off the amount Halsey insured the shipment for. Meantime, Tony Diaz had a hunch the guitar was still out there.
I just had an intuition that the guitar was stolen and that it wasn't damaged and destroyed.
Sure enough, on a
All right, so first thing that people, and you know, we're humans, we're humans. First thing people are gonna think, and this is probably me too, like, first thing probably people are gonna think like, oh, the package was stolen. And it might have been. So automatically you don't get it. It's an item in which it's maybe highly coveted or it's a special item. You think somebody stole it. That's just human nature. So that's nothing out of the ordinary. I get why he thought so. So, you know what? Let's keep going.
search, the exact Dime Slime guitar appeared on a Guitar Center website, down to the serial number.
21 1564.
That's like a VIN number on a car, and it's there for reasons just like this.
Halsey snatched it up, and Diaz made the drive to Bakersfield to get it.
It was 3.5 hours to get there, and it was 4 hours to get back.
Was it worth it?
It was absolutely worth it, yeah.
All right, so they found the said guitar that was missing on the Guitar Center's website, and I guess they pull up the serial number, and come to find out that's the same guitar in which we got missing in action. Okay, so let's keep going.
When you're a small business like myself, you can't afford to have these types of things happen.
They filed a police report and called UPS back, but Diaz says the call didn't go great.
UPS was kind of, hey, why are you calling, with this tracking number? This is already a closed case. The guitar was damaged and destroyed. And so I told him on the phone, I said, well, that's so funny that the guitar was damaged and destroyed because I just bought it from Guitar Center and I have it in my car with me.
That's when 7 on Your Side.
Okay, so I can see where there's a lot of confusion, right? So they call customer service back once they got the guitar in their hand. They call customer service back and say, hey, look, the guitar that y'all said that was lost or stolen, damaged, flooded, burnt up, whatever, I have it right here. And so there's like, well, why are you calling me? I guess, customer service reps say, why are you calling? Because, this is already a closed case. We already done, I guess, paid the claim, bam, issued an amount or whatever it was. They didn't say the amount they issued. Hey, we already took care of this. We're moving on. We have, thousands of other packages, hundreds of thousands of other packages to deal with. So we don't know why you're calling me, which is understandable because once they close the case or close whatever it is, the claim, like, they're moving on. So they're not going to reopen it because they already done paid it out. So, I understand both sides from the company standpoint. Hey, we already settled this. We're moving on. And I get it from a customer standpoint. They want answers, which I get it. We all want answers for stuff, especially when it's our items. We want to know what happened. So I can't blame him for that. But at the same time, UPS was like, hey, we're moving on. We good. We paid y'all money. Why you calling me? What else you want? All right, let's keep going.
Side stepped in. I spoke to a UPS security supervisor.
All right, so once that happened, it seems as if like he called and that's not what he wanted to hear. So he called a news channel to get it escalated. So, all right, let's see what happens.
Who said the guitar was stolen, but that UPS couldn't reimburse Halsey for more than he had insured it. After speaking with 7 on Your Side.
Okay, so when it comes to insurance, right? When you go to ship an item, you have the option to buy insurance. And what you want to do is, and I have some notes here, what you want to do is, hold on, y'all. Let's see what's happening. My camera go. Oh, there we go. So you want to insure your items for whatever amount. You can insure for whatever amount you want, but of course it costs. And so what I see a lot of customers do, and I'm not saying they didn't do this, but the more you want to insure your item for, the more you're gonna have to pay, right? So some customers might be like, hey, I'm gonna take my chance, I'm insure it or not insure it, or I'm insure it for less than I want to pay for because I think it's gonna make it. And I see a lot of times where, the customers don't have insurance at all. And in those situations, UPS, they will cover up to $100 when it's, as far as the claim, if something was to happen to it. But if it's worth $1,000 and you bought no insurance, you might get $100. And so that's what happened here. So he goes into explain that what a reporter says that they insured it for less than the amount it was worth. So UPS paid whatever the amount you insured it for. It's not their fault that you insured it for less than what it was worth. Let's keep going.
Side and Halsey. UPS agreed to revisit the issue if Halsey provided a receipt for his initial purchase. In a statement to 7 on Your Side, UPS writes, quote, "We strive to provide excellent service. We've been in contact with the customer and have resolved the situation. The resolution, a bigger refund that satisfied Halsey and Diaz."
7 on Your Side's been fantastic.
Okay, so you took the refund. I get it. It's not what you wanted, but it's what you insured it for. So I don't know if you can go back. I mean, you can go back and say, hey, that refund isn't enough because, I need more. Why are my cameras doing that? You can complain and say your refund isn't enough. However, if that's the amount you insured it for, I'm not sure what else you want. Let's keep going.
I couldn't have done it without you guys. Melanie, you've been great and getting me in touch with the right people at UPS.
While the guitar, which had been in mint condition prior to the theft, now has a few blemishes.
But it didn't have that dent in the top before. There's a scratch back here on the back right here.
Tony Diaz and his son are glad to have it in their hands. Safe and sound.
All right. Let's see here. Okay. I have some notes here when it comes to the insurance, right? And so, like I said before, most of the times, customers don't insure stuff. They just expect for it to get from point A to point B, which I get it. We all should. But at the same time, if you want it insured, you have to buy the additional insurance. And, the insurance is not really expensive, in my opinion. I like a peace of mind. I don't want to have to worry about stuff. And so if I'm going to send something to somebody, you know, and I feel as if it's over $100 worth, I'm gonna probably buy it a couple of dollars of insurance. So it's $100 is like the default, the max you'll get if you don't purchase the insurance. But for each additional $100 in coverage, it's anywhere between 50 cents to $2.70 for each additional $100. So example, if you ship something, you want to declare it being $300, it's $5.75. It's $5.75 to insure it. So I think, in my opinion, if I'm gonna ship something and it's worth $300, which I mean that's a decent amount. No one wants to lose $300 worth of equipment on an item. I think less than $6 is pretty fair to insure that, and you just multiply it as you go higher. So if you have $1,000 item, you probably can insure it for like a little bit over $10. So to me, I'd rather just pay the $10 or pay however much it is to insure my item that's $1,000. So that way, something was to happen, things happen, and it's not just UPS, it's every carrier. Things happen. I want to have that assurance that I get my money back, or I get some of my money, or at least most of what it's valued at. So that's that, and we have another. Let me make sure this other video is going to play because I was having trouble with it earlier. Let's see. Okay. So this is the same. This is from the same news channel. Shouts out to them. All right. I tagged them right here in the description. So same news channel. I believe these two stories were a few weeks apart. All right, let's get to it.
Said UPS lost a unique guitar he purchased. That guitar ultimately appeared for resale online.
Imagine this.
All right, so she's referencing the video we just went over about the green guitar. All right, let's keep going.
Surprised when you saw that. Well, now two other viewers say UPS told them the one-of-a-kind items that they were shipping were also lost, with one of those items now possibly for sale on eBay.
7 on your side's Melanie Woodrow is here with the update and what UPS is saying.
Kristen and Dan, UPS isn't saying much. Unfortunately, our prior story was all too familiar to these new viewers who reached out, both with incredibly rare shipments somehow lost by UPS. A Bay Area bike builder has been working on the 70s style show bike for Derek Kriebel, a motorcycle enthusiast in Ohio.
I play with them and then I sell them.
His newest toy was supposed to have the supercharger.
The supercharger theoretically doubles the horsepower of the motorcycle.
Kriebel convinced Mike LaMarca in New Jersey to sell it to him.
He explained he was building a bike for a bike show, and I had sold some superchargers that were put on bikes for that bike show previously, so that's how we struck a deal.
But when LaMarca shipped it with UPS fully insured to the bike builder in the Bay Area, it never arrived.
Oh, my heart sunk. Number one, just...
All right, so now we're dealing with a supercharger for a motorcycle, okay? And they did say it was fully insured to the bike builder, okay? So fully insured, okay? Write that in your notes. Let's keep going.
Because the rarity of the supercharger.
I think somebody definitely stole it.
Months later,
all right, so same story, all right? So last video, first thing the guy said, like, oh, I think it was stolen. This video, supercharger, first thing, oh, I think it was stolen. It's not a coincidence these two stories, they sound the same, right? So like I was saying before, people automatically think off the bat, oh, somebody stole it. Like, that's just who we are. All right, you know what? I mean, maybe, but let's keep going.
LaMarca spotted the supercharger for sale on eBay. He says it's definitely the same one and sent 7 on your side pictures showing similar markings between the one he shipped and the one now for sale.
It's too many coincidences.
LaMarca reached out to the eBay seller who told him we buy lost freight from shipping companies.
So maybe the box was torn open and missing some parts and UPS sells them off. I don't know at this point.
LaMarca filed a police report he sent us, but the seller told him police have not contacted them. A UPS spokesperson would not answer my questions regarding UPS selling lost freight to other companies, only writing in a statement, quote, "We're committed to delivering excellent service. Issues with shipments are uncommon, but when they happen, we work with our customers to resolve them." Last month, 7 on your side covered the story of a lost guitar shipped via UPS.
All right, so now they're referencing the story we just went over, but let me give y'all a little bit of insight. And I'm not on anybody's side. I could care less. But I'm just here to let you guys know that, hey, this is in the media. This is being reported. The customer's side of it with the items, right? And so, of course, I work at UPS, and so I understand what I see, and I know what goes on. And so, not to give you like a deep dive on what really happens, but what I see is, things happen. You have slides, you have conveyors, and, it's packages all over the place. Some packages are heavier than others. They slide off. Sometimes things do get damaged, and that's with every carrier. That's with every situation. And at times when stuff gets damaged, sometimes you'll see, well, let's back up a little bit. A lot of times people who ship items, many times they don't use the proper packaging, or it's like I call it a lazy packaging. Sometimes you use that cheap tape and it's like a 80-pound box and they have one little strip of tape, and, like the box integrity is not good. And so you can't really expect for that package to make it safely and not get damaged, or those heavy items inside not to bust out with that one strip of tape, or the box integrity that's not all that good, right? And so, like, I see this a lot, and it's really on the shippers to package things as much as possible. You shouldn't be able to feel packages move. If you take a box and you shake it, you shouldn't be feeling stuff moving inside. That's a package that's not really packaged good. So I see all types of stuff. And if you have an item that falls out of a package on the northwest side of the building and the box is on the conveyors, it travels throughout the building, and the item falls out and the box end up on the other side of the building, it's just an item that falls out. Nobody knows where it goes because you're talking thousands or 10,000s of packages in a building being moved around at the same time. And so if an item gets separated from, or the contents get separated from the package, it's almost impossible to know, hey, where's the box? A lot of times the box get damaged, because if it busts open and stuff falls out, the box get damaged, or it gets open, now it's flat, then they just move it to the side because there's no contents. And so a lot of times those contents, it gets put in a different part of the building. They try to investigate to see the tracking number and stuff like that. And a lot of times I do see where a lot of these items get reunited with the actual original package, but a lot of times it doesn't happen. And so I think in these two cases, if not both of them, at least one of these cases where the package might have got destroyed or wet. I mean, because it rains, you have other package leaking and stuff like that. So it's just like, stuff happens. If you're going through a bottleneck conveyor and a heavier package, it kind of runs into like a lighter package, or maybe like not as big, and stuff happens and stuff gets damaged. And so I think at least one of these situations, that's what happened. And they got separated from the original package to see, hey, where does it go? We don't know. So guess what? It has to go over here in the pile. I hate to say pile, but it's more like a pile. And we have to just hold on to it to see what we're going to do with it. And eventually, all of that stuff takes up space, in the facility, and then they have to do something with it. I'm not sure what they do with it, but, something has to be done. Let's keep going.
Yes, UPS told the shipper the shipment burned in a California wildfire, fell off a truck, fell off a train. The package was damaged beyond repair, and all contents were destroyed and discarded. But then,
In all actuality, they're giving them, okay, with the guitar, they're giving them all of these reasons, what happened, these excuses. They don't know. They don't know. It's probably, the customer service person saying that, hey, it could have done this. Then they call back another time and they say, well, this could have happened. But ultimately, they don't know. Now, the reason why they tell them these other explanations, even though they don't know, I mean, some people might say, like, well, why are they lying? Well, if they tell you, hey, we don't know, you're going to probably feel even worse as a customer versus them saying, oh, hey, it fell off a train, and it got ran over by some cars. I don't know. You're still going to feel like crap. But if the customer service rep says, hey, we don't know, then the customer will be like, hey, what do you mean you don't know? You should know. So as a result of that, they'll just say, hey, it burned up in the wildfires. We had wildfires the same week. It burned up in the wildfire. But either way, no matter what happened to it, whether a dog ate it, a dragon ate it, a kangaroo stumped it out, wildfires, the truck caught on fire, the truck ran in a ravine, in a ditch or whatever, no matter what really happened, we're going to pay you out. And so I'm thinking, me as a customer, I'm like, okay, yeah, I want to know what happened, but it really doesn't matter. They're going to have to pay me out because they don't have it. I don't have it. And so it's going to have to be resolved. Um, you know, maybe a dog ate it. I don't know. Let's keep going.
then the guitar turned up for sale
buffering big time.
On a Guitar Center website.
I just had an intuition that the guitar was stolen and that it wasn't damaged and destroyed.
Lamarca saw our story.
That's when I kind of put two and two together that this was in the same area, and that's when I reached out to you.
The shipper of this one-of-a-kind painting by June Chen Alaman also reached out to 7 on Your Side after our report aired. Pam Daniels recently moved from the Chicago area to the Bay Area.
On a trip back to Chicago in February, I prepared it and shipped it, and it never arrived. I mean, artwork is irreplaceable. This is not something that exists in any other form.
Daniels didn't insure her shipment, saying she had never had an issue with UPS previously. She received the same explanation as Lamarca.
All merchandise is missing, and the carton has been discarded. I don't think it could disappear. It's not like it was a couple of loose bolts in the bottom of a box that fell out. I don't know how you lose something that's 5 feet by 7 feet big.
Daniels says she heard.
I mean, if you don't have it, you don't have it. I mean, I get what she's saying, but I mean, if you don't have it, you don't have it. And if stuff gets messed up to where, you know, the contents get separated from the package, then there's really nothing else you can do. Let's keep going.
Heard about our prior report at a makerspace in San Francisco, where entrepreneurs are working on how to make shipping more trackable.
I was like, what? Is this a ring? What is going on?
3 rare shipments lost.
Yeah, see, so that's the third customer. So she's saying it's a ring. And so that, of course, insinuates that it's people stealing packages, just like the other two guys said. Like, the first thing I thought about, it was stolen. She's saying it's a ring. I'm assuming a theft ring she's insinuating. So, you know, people are going to automatically think, oh, my stuff being stolen. And plus, they go into the same news channel. So, like, the reporter's probably saying, like, oh, hey, you think your stuff was stolen too? Hey, come over here and talk to us. So that's what's going on right here. Let's keep going.
With 2 of the items later appearing for sale online, and a singular explanation from UPS as to why. Contents missing or destroyed, box discarded. All 3 shipments were sent between January and February of this year. The shipper of that supercharger says that in order to insure it for the full value, UPS had to pack it up, and the shipper had to fill out a form declaring exactly what was in it and listing all of the components. He wonders if maybe that has something to do with what's going on here and how people know what are high-ticket items. Right. Exactly.
And it's one thing to have something that is replaceable lost, but these irreplaceable items, that's
I know.
Else. Thanks,
so
Mel.
Terrible. All right, last.
All right, so fact of the matter is, when it comes to the insurance, you know, when you see how much it is to ship something or send something, you see how much it is, and a lot of times people are like, oh man, that's already expensive, so they want to buy the additional insurance. I get it, but it's definitely worth it because anything could happen. Like anything could happen. If trucks are getting loaded, and I've seen this for myself, if trucks are getting loaded, and let me know, Bomb Squad, if y'all experienced this as well. When trucks are getting loaded and it's raining outside, it depends on whether it's outside wings or getting loaded inside or getting loaded in a bay door. A lot of times rain will fall and it'll wet some of the packages, and depending on how that stuff is handled or get next to another package, you know, sometimes it will get damaged. Boxes get wet, you know, cardboard gets wet, it gets soft, and it can tear, and stuff can crumble, come apart, and so like stuff like that happens. So like I know if it's an expensive item, I'm watching, I'm tracking it, but at the same time, I'm gonna have to get that additional insurance because you never really know. And the one guy, he wasn't satisfied with the amount that UPS paid, but that was based on the insurance coverage that he paid for. So I mean, I have this one customer, say for instance, they ship industrial equipment, and I look at the manifest, a lot of times their insurance is almost just as much, well not just as much, but like maybe like half of what they're shipping for. And so, but it's valuable to them because they ship a lot of expensive items. You're talking about thousands of dollars worth of items they ship every day. So it's worth it for them, you know, to pay the additional maybe $5 or $10 for insurance, just to make sure if someone's to happen to those items, they can get fully covered and they don't have to worry about calling UPS and going to UPS and trying to figure out what happened, because look, stuff happens. And This is 3 situations that we covered in a small period of time in that particular area, California. And so, but we talking about as far as how many packages get moved every day. Hundreds of thousands of packages get moved every day. And so it's like, I mean, it's a very, very small amount. But when people watch these stories online and on TV, it'll make it seem as if this is a widespread problem. But man, stuff get damaged all the time. I think I told the story before. I had a shower door, but I don't think it was a shower door. I think it was the whole enclosure, the whole shower enclosure. And so when I went to deliver it, because I didn't move it, it was loaded on my truck. And by the time I got to deliver it, I went right out the air around 11 o'clock. And when I went to deliver it, it was shattered. So of course I didn't deliver it. I let the customer know, like, hey, look, I'm gonna send this back. And of course, you need to order another one. The shipper's gonna get notified that it was damaged by UPS. And so that happened on a Thursday. And by the next week on Tuesday or Wednesday, I forgot which day it was, there was a new shower door came or a shower enclosure came, and I delivered it. And that one was just, that one was fine. But stuff happens, especially, I mean, even if we get to the bigger stuff, you think that things can get broken. Stuff is heavy. You don't always have the strongest person to support stuff. Like I said, things happen. And so people are going to automatically think, oh, my stuff was stolen. And sometimes maybe that might happen. But a lot of times stuff do get damaged and is out of anybody's control. So to protect yourself, buy the insurance. Make sure everything gets packaged right. A lot of times you on the receiving end, you don't have control of that. But the shippers know, make sure they package stuff up good. It's so many times, I can't even tell y'all how many times where stuff just be rolling around in the box. I'm like, okay, this must be something that's really cheap, because if it's something that's breakable or expensive, I'm sure that they would take more pride in the packaging than just to send it like that with no kind of cushion or nothing, just rolling around inside of a box like it's a toothbrush or something, right? Shouts out to the Bomb Squad. We appreciate all the support, guys. Marcus Smith said customers suck. Oh man, I'm not. Some customers are tough. I'm gonna put it like that. Some are tough. But we're all very protective over our items, and that's why I recommend people buy the insurance. Buy the insurance. He said, as FedEx trying to set us up. Yeah, man, FedEx, they have their own problems too, Um, they have their own problems. The FedEx guy in my area, man, he's a newer guy, and their turnover rate is crazy. Let me tell y'all, I've seen on the same route in my area, I've seen probably maybe 4 to 5 different FedEx drivers in the last year, maybe 14 months. The turnover for that route is crazy, and it's not even a bad area. So I'm not sure what that is, but the guy right now, he has a good attitude. He smiles. He looks like he's having a good time. Even despite the heat, he's a kind guy, and it's just like, I just wonder, like, how long is he gonna last, because people don't last on that route. So they have their issues too, but it could be FedEx setting us up. But while you setting us up, probably be solving your own problems with that energy. But um people shipping items in Ziploc bags now is crazy. Oh, my camera went. There we go. Yeah, it is crazy. In Ziploc bags, yeah, that's crazy. I would not ship anything in Ziploc unless it's something I need to be contained. But um, I would have to have some other type of packaging to go along with that. Yeah, sometimes the labels fall off. That's another thing I didn't mention. A good catch, Marcus. Sometimes labels do fall off. Um, I see customers, they tape over the labels. They do all around the box, make sure the label don't fall off. Because yes, label falls off, and you don't have packaging information or packing list inside or outside of the package, that label falls off. The label end up just by itself. The box end up by itself with no labels. Like no one know where it goes. Like no one knows the tracking ID. So good catch though, Marcus. That happens all the time. All the time. And one thing, like, when customers ship stuff, and sometimes I'll be like, hey, I need to put some more tape on this because it'd be like barely, any adhesive on the label. So it's like, this is going to fall off. And so I try to catch stuff like that because next thing you know, oh man, where's my package? Well, it's sitting in a warehouse somewhere because we don't know where it goes. And so, stuff happens. Like I said, stuff happens. People have to be in mind and know that stuff happens to take preventative measures, you know, because, man, stuff happens. Like, man, we see some crazy stuff. Y'all know. Y'all know. Global Noble say people who ship their stuff via UPS store have no idea that they aren't the shipper when stuff gets lost. Yeah, you're right. UPS store, they just an in between. Like it's a place to go and you can pay for shipping there, but you're buying the shipping from them. They buying the shipping from UPS. They help you package and stuff, just to get your business, but they are not UPS and they're not the shipper. You ship through them, but you are ultimately the shipper. You ship from the UPS store, you use your name and your address as a shipper. They just kind of assisting you and helping you do it. They're just doing it for you and you paying them. But you're right, they are not the shipper. Oh, so you're saying UPS store is a shipper? Yeah, so when I see stuff shipped from the UPS store, I see the person's name and it'll also say UPS store, then it'll have the person's address. So, but they do use the UPS store's shipper number or customer number. So it's under the UPS store's account, and the customer being a customer of the UPS store. All right, so I guess that any claims would have to go through the UPS store since they're using the UPS store account information. I assume that's how that works. The UPS store is the shipper, so the person has to deal with the UPS store for a refund, not UPS. Every day I had people screaming at me. Yeah, people gonna be unruly no matter what. Whether they have to initiate the claims themselves or they have to go through somebody else, man, people are going to be unruly when it comes to their stuff. Even if it's like low cost items that are being lost, damaged, or stolen, people just get really, really emotional. And I can't blame them. They're going to get really emotional about their items, especially if they don't get them, or especially if they show up messed up, damaged, or, I just send it back. If I see something messed up, I just send it back. A lot of time, I won't even let the customer know. They'll see when they track it. They say, hey, this item's been damaged because I'm not going to show up to somebody's door with an item I know they're not going to be satisfied with. If I can see it, it's just not a good look. Marcus Smith saying the paper tape that Walmart and Amazon use should be outlawed and don't even stick. Yeah, a lot of times that paper tape is compromised on site. Yeah. And if it gets wet, some of those paper tapes are strong and has little fibers in the middle, but a lot of times, like it gets unstuck, and then you got to go with the regular tape and try to package it back up. Yep, you're right about that. Thank you guys for the likes. We appreciate it. We appreciate it. On the makeup show, I know it's a little weird time for us. It's not ideal for me, but I had to come here just because I had to put it off during the week. I like streaming during the week. It gives everybody an opportunity to get here. And so on the weekend, I know it's a little different, but I just had to get this show out. Thank you guys who showed up. Everybody who's on the replay, we appreciate it as well. What's up, Jude? What's up, Jude? Yeah, Global Nova said, yeah, it is a franchise. I actually looked into, well, this was years ago, not right now, but I actually looked into getting a UPS store, because I know a couple guys that have UPS stores. I know a couple of the owners at, you know, some of the ones in our area, and I actually looked into it several years ago, decided that wasn't for me, and kept it moving. But you know, I think it's a good business. With them carrying the UPS name, you get a lot of people that's like, okay, well, let me take my stuff over here, or let me go. Especially since now a lot of the customer counters, well, all the customer counters are shut down, I think. So it kind of forces customers to go there. Not force, but you know, I was I would assume that the UPS stores will be getting more business now that customer counters are shut down versus before. So um, it might not be a bad business for a lot of people, but at the time, I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Shouts out to Jude. What's happening, bro? You got 37 stops left. So I assume it's another maybe like hour and a half, maybe hour and 45 minutes, be done. Like I got a picture from my safety committee at work today. Shouts out to them. Like I was so spent after last night with my 5 days. I was like, hey, y'all go kill it, because one, two, three or four of them they work on Saturday, so they're working today. Shouts out to them, and they sent me a picture of PCM this morning, and I'm like, y'all be safe and have fun, man. But I'm just glad I'm not out there today. We hit 95, 96 degrees. I want to say Thursday and Friday. I think Thursday we hit 96. On Friday, yesterday we hit 95. And so the thing is, the forecast has been around 92, 93, but then again, you hit 95, or it'd be forecast at 94, then you hit 96. It just, they've been under forecasting the highs. And so when that 3 o'clock, 3:30, 3:45 hits, look out. Look out. Man, oh man. Especially around that time, if you're driving north around that time, you have that driver door open and that sun is hitting you like that, man, crazy. So I try to avoid that. I try to avoid that. That's crazy. I actually have two more videos just like this about the one, pretty much the same scenario, the same situations, people having issues and thinking that, okay, now we have covered on this channel the theft rings and stuff like that. But I'm not saying that stuff doesn't happen. We know that stuff also happens. But in this instance right here, most of the general public, they don't realize how much stuff gets damaged. Now, it's a very, very small percentage of items, very, very small percentage of shipments that get damaged where they can't send them over to the shipper. I mean, to the receiver, and you have to stop traffic, stop the tracking, or stop the progress of the shipments. And so, small percentage, but when it's yours, it's like everything. I want my shipment. Marcus Smith said 101 degrees yesterday, 103 today in Nebraska. Man, hold on, Marcus, bro. Hold on, man. You mean to tell me, like, I didn't know y'all got that hot over there. So you mean to tell me y'all dealing with 101, 103 in June, and in May, April, May, and what is it, like September and October, y'all dealing with tornadoes? Man, because I know when spring is here and it's trying to get warm again, the tornadoes, they start spurring up. And then I know when it's warm and the cool front start to come through, it's trying to get cool, and the fall brings in and y'all get tornadoes again. So I know it's like twice a year, those tornado seasons, but I didn't know y'all got that hot. Man, that's wild, man, having to deal with that. That's just like, um, whatever area you in the country, it's just like, we all kind of deal with the things we deal with. Like on the Gulf Coast, they deal with hurricanes, and then you deal with excessive heat in certain states, right? But if you're in Florida, you're dealing with hurricanes, but it doesn't really be hitting in Florida like that. It doesn't really get like hot, you know. Now we're in Texas, we deal with the heat, of course, the humidity, it goes along with that, and we deal with hurricanes from here and there. If you're in California, if you're on the West Coast, yeah, you deal with rain, you got nice weather, but you deal with the earthquakes, right? Every now and then there'll be a heat wave, but not like, 100 degrees and stuff like that. If you're in the north or even the Midwest, you might deal with the snow and stuff in the wintertime. But you don't have to worry about like hurricanes and earthquakes and stuff like that. A lot of the Midwest states, like in Nebraska, I know Kansas, Oklahoma, Ohio, y'all dealing with the tornadoes and stuff like that. But to have to deal with the tornadoes twice a year, as well as you talking about triple digits, and we only in June, that's crazy. That's crazy. Man. Yeah, man. Look, hey, be safe out there, man. I was telling my group this week I was on vacation last week, as you guys know, and I came back to work, and we in the 90s every day, and so Monday I was cool. Monday's a light day. I work 8 hours, right? And so Tuesday came along, and I'm getting back into the groove. Tuesday I was heavy, about 165 stops, and I'm getting back into the groove, and started cramping a little bit in my hand and like a little bit in one of my calves. I'm like, okay, well, when I was on vacation, I drank a lot, like not alcohol. I mean, I had some wine here and there, but I was always drinking. I was on coffee, a lot of water, a lot of Gatorades and stuff like that. But working in the heat is different. You feel like you hydrated, you're on vacation, you're having a good time, you're chilling, you're eating good food and stuff like that. But on Tuesday, it hit me like, oh man, my hand is starting to cramp a little bit. Oh, my right calf, it kind of indicated like, hey, you might be like on the edge, maybe like a little pre-dehydrated, right? And so I had to really, really start amping up my hydration, even though I drank a lot on vacation. And so, I mean, just a lot of liquids, period. And I know as far as liquids they're not all equal when it comes to hydration. I get all of that. But I really had to turn up my hydration this week. And so by Wednesday, I was good. By Wednesday, I was good. We had one driver supposedly got dehydrated this week. He'll be fine. No, he'll be fine. He got an IV. He'll be fine. We good. Last year, my center, we did really well. We didn't have any kind of heat related injuries. Thank God. And so hopefully this year we can actually duplicate that. We're off to an okay start, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, Marcus, man, take care out there, man. I know it's hot. I know it's hot, but hold it down. Hold it down. Yeah, the humidity is crazy too. Humidity is crazy too. A Global said, are full timers still getting overtime if they want? Oh, you talking about on Saturdays? Are you talking about a six punch, or are you just talking about the overtime in general? Or are you talking about six punch? I know in my building, I can speak on that. It's drivers getting six punches. It's lower seniority full time drivers getting six punches because some of them coming in on Mondays. Tuesday through Saturday drivers are coming in on Mondays, and I know for a fact Monday through Friday drivers are, some of those are working on Saturdays. So in my facility, I can say yes. Wondering due to a decrease in volume. I mean, the overtime is pretty much daily, and the six punches. Yes, I can say in my building, yes, people getting six punches. Now, it's a little trick when it comes to the lower volumes, and you're right about the lower volumes. So what happens is with the lower volumes, they want less drivers on the road, obviously, to try to suffice for the lower volumes. And so what they'll do is they'll cut routes. And so once you start cutting routes, you load the trucks that are in. And so for those routes and for those drivers, you end up getting more overtime, you know? So with a decrease in volume, it's still like you're still gonna get overtime. So if you're talking about day to day, yes. You start cutting routes, yep, yeah, people gonna get overtime. I got more overtime this week in general. Okay, so I've got more overtime this week. This is the most hours I've worked in a long time. Is because they cut this one particular route and they have to split up the work. And so with lower volume, they cut cars. I don't really agree with this time of year them cutting cars because it's freaking hot in Texas. But supposedly next week in my center they're supposed to go down on stops per car. So we'll see how that goes. And that will allow them to let more drivers work, which that were supposed to mean that we have a little lighter load. So we'll see. Because that one route that has been getting cut, it adds like 30 stops to me. 25 to 30. No bueno. No bueno. So yeah. A bigger area takes longer but less stops. Yes, I mean that is true. A bigger area, if you're more spread out with the same amount of stops, it takes longer. With less stops, it could take longer with a bigger area. Now, what's been happening to me in particular, I can only speak for myself, is that the area it increases a little bit and it's more stops. And so it definitely takes longer. Definitely takes longer. Slightly bigger area, but it's right next to mine. But you spread out a little more, you're gonna take longer. You add more stops, you definitely taking longer. So yeah, the overtime is there. In general, yes, the overtime is still there. The only way I see the overtime going away on a day-to-day basis is if they drop stops per car and put more drivers on the road and just have people with lighter loads, and if they could finish in 8 hours or less. That's the only way I see the overtime kind of doing though. Then you're always gonna have your people that's gonna just get overtime no matter what. If they have a 6 hour, if they have a 6 hour load and they take 9, and so oh yeah, I'm on a 9-5 list. Yeah, don't get it twisted. I'm on a 9-5 list. And so like I don't mind the extra work. I don't mind the extra work. Oh yeah, I didn't mind the work this week. Yeah, and I do request 8 hour days when I feel like I need it. But yeah, like I'm good. I'm on a 9-5 list, and my 2 8 hour requests, I only use those like if I have to make events where I don't want to use an option day. So, but yeah, 9-5 list all day. 9-5 list all day. Like those tools are good to have, for whenever you need them. They're good to have whenever you need them. It doesn't mean you have to use them, but they're good to have whenever you need them. Like it's some people that, you know. So when it comes to the 9-5 list, in my opinion, it should be strategically used, not just, you know, you got to have your strategy. But I see people who don't really use strategies and they're a little reckless. But, you got to have a strategy because, ultimately it is politics. And so, you got to have your ducks in a row and you got to know what you're doing. The Global said, I used to use floaters on the last 2 days of the month and the first 2 days on the next month. So 4 8 hours in a row, they hated that. Yeah, of course they will, especially since you created a pattern. But, they could not do it, then you just file a grievance. But, it's cool. Yeah. I only use those floaters, man, if I need to. Like I don't mind doing 9.5, 10 hours. I don't care about that. That's fine. In fact, I think the last time I used an 8-hour request was, um, man, I can't remember. It was this year though. I can't remember. It was like twice in 2 weeks I used it. Yeah, I think I was just going. We were just going to dinner with like another couple or something like that, or we was doing something, you know. And I didn't think that leaving at um, burning an option day, like just to get somewhere for 7 o'clock made any sense. So I just put in an 8-hour request. We start at 9:15 in my center. We start at 9:15. Center next to us starts at 9:10. Um, 9:20 on the other side of us, and I believe the other center starts at 9:10. So in my building, two centers start at 9:10. We start at 9:15. There's a 9:20. Stagger start. Um, the two bigger centers start at 9:10 at the same time. They have a little further to drive than our center, and the center that starts at 9:20, they're actually pretty close. Like the furthest person is probably, I don't know, 10 minutes away. So I wish we started at 9, but on Mondays we start at 9, but Tuesday through Friday 9:15, 9:30 on Saturday, which I'm never there, but that's fine. But yeah, I wish we started at 9. Um, if we started at 9 Tuesday through Friday, yeah, I would probably finish on average probably 30 minutes sooner than I finish now, no matter how many stops, just because y'all know how the dynamics is during air. Y'all know. Y'all know. We should start it at 8. That would be lovely. That would be lovely. If some kind of way the plane came in earlier, absolutely. I think 8 o'clock would be in the making, but it's almost impossible because of the planes. Yep. Alex said, hey, shouts out to you, Alex. They be running air till 10 on some days. Yeah, if those planes came in earlier, if the planes came in earlier, then we'll be able to start earlier. But our airport is, shoot, 35 minutes away. Well, maybe not 30, maybe 30 minutes away. Our airport is 30 minutes away. So by the time plane lands, they unload, get it on the truck and all of that stuff, make it over, get into facility, get the sort down and all of that stuff. That's why we leave. Because a lot of times our air isn't down till close to 9. Now, we started at 8 too during peak season on Mondays. I want to say we started, yeah, during peak season. This past peak season, we started at 8 o'clock on Monday. That was sweet. Man, that was sweet, man. But we were heavy. Despite running all of the stuff on Saturday, we could. On Monday, it was still crazy. And that was with all the peak season routes in. Yep. Yeah, Mondays I was getting done like at 3 o'clock, 3:30. Heavy, but starting at 8. That was sweet. That was sweet. Man, shouts out to the bomb squad. If it wasn't for y'all, man, I wouldn't even be here. So I appreciate it. I appreciate it. The channel is growing. Um, I believe we have a really good community, and man, it's all up from here. Global said a company tried having us start at 9. They got in trouble with the union. You might want to check your contract about that. About what, starting at 9 or? So I wonder why the union had a problem with them starting at 9. I wonder why the union would have an issue with that. It has to be a reason why the union had an issue with that. Like I haven't read the whole contract, but I have definitely covered a lot of it. I don't know what the union would have. I don't know what reason that would make sense for them to have trouble, to have an issue with the group starting at 9, or they just want to fight. I don't know. I'm not sure what that is. So because if everything is ready to go, I mean nobody's working for free, and so one maybe to even argue, and I had a conversation with a driver on one day this past week and said that, you know, if we started earlier, you know, even if it was 15, 20 minutes earlier, it allows you to get more off, before it gets too hot, because we know 2:30, between 2:30 and 6:30, it's freaking hot, y'all. And so if we started even 30 minutes earlier, you could get more ground off doing air, and you can knock out a decent amount of stops before it even turns noon. So, um, and then so 3 o'clock gets here, you can probably take a full lunch or something like that, maybe 2 o'clock lunch and stuff like that in the heat of the day, and you don't really have much left on the back end because you got a lot done before, let's say, 2 o'clock. And so um, there's something about starting late in the day. All right, so the union wants you to start later in the day. If I come across it, I'll bring it up. If I also come across it, sometimes I skim a little bit. Um, but I think earlier start is more beneficial for the drivers. Hmm, that's pretty interesting. Now, I will say this: um, the later start, it benefits UPS just because, like, if you finish your deliveries and you have, say you're waiting for pickups or whatever, if you have that gap, they have to pay you for that gap. So that's not good for UPS. So I can see them having an issue with starting too early, even if the freight, even if everything was ready to go. If you have an hour and a half, you're waiting on pickups, you already took your lunch, like you have to wait. So um, a later start might benefit UPS more than anything. So that way, you just kind of bleed into your pickups. And so, but I've seen people get in trouble for not doing anything if they have a gap in their pickups. But I mean, it's not me, but I've known people to have issues with that, which, you know, I would approach it differently. But hey, that's just me. But hey, if I come across that in the contract, we can talk about it. Like I'll bring it up. Like I don't mind bringing up union stuff. Doesn't bother me. Doesn't bother me. So I look over YouTube, I look over the internet, and I don't really know any other channel like this. But if y'all run across any other channel that's like Brick Dot Media, y'all let me know. Y'all let me know. But I really can't find anybody or any channel. But we over here, we trying to set trends, y'all. So and like I said, if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't even be here. It wouldn't even matter. So I appreciate all the support. Not sure when we'll be back, but you know, I like I like a daytime show on the weekends. If y'all okay with that, I know I catch more of you guys at night, but every now and then we could probably, you know, check it out during the day. We get a little natural sunlight in the room, and we'll kick it. All right, Bomb Squad, you guys been great, and like I said, my apologies again for having to postpone the show, but man, I'm over here working. I'm over here working like we all are. The Global said a UPS loves it because they know their chickens want to go home without taking all their breaks. Yes, I mean, it works out too, and plus you don't run into a situation where businesses are not even open yet. And so like now you have to, I mean, it's sort of like it's several reasons. It's the pickup factor. They don't want people waiting for pickups. You have customers, you know, that don't. I mean, banks don't open till 9. A lot of businesses don't open till 9. So you have drivers attempting stuff at 8:15 and not going back, and so you got businesses upset because drivers are coming too early. So I mean, it's it's several factors benefits UPS by starting 9 o'clock or later, and so um, I mean, people want to go home whatever time they get done. Because I'm gonna tell you, if we started at 8 o'clock, I still want to go home. I still want to go home ASAP. You know, if we started at noon, I'm trying to finish ASAP. If we start at 7:45, like I'm trying to see, how early I can finish. If we start at 7:45 in the morning. Yep. I mean, I have more energy too. On Mondays, I feel like, okay, we starting at 9. Let's see how early we can get home. Yep. All right, y'all. Thanks for showing up. And if you're catching the replay, we appreciate it as well. Thank y'all for the likes. We appreciate it. Breakdown Media. We'll see you guys soon. Y'all take care. We out.